We begin with some breaking news this hour. Saudi Arabia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has issued a statement via Twitter, rejecting a motion passed by the U.S. Senate last Thursday, condemning Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman over the killing of Jamal Khashoggi. The ministry says it regards the Senate as interfering in the kingdom's internal affairs. Well, for more, James Farwell, Senior Fellow in the Middle East Institute, joins me now from New Orleans. Thank you for your time for TRT World, sir. Now, it is quite unusual for Saudi Arabia to criticize the U.S. Does this signal a widening rift in their relations?
I think it signals the surprise that Saudi Arabia faces, that in this country where politics have been very divisive and polarized, the United States Senate came together on a bipartisan basis and has criticized a murder that they consider to be completely outrageous and unjustified. And they are laying the blame for this murder at the feet of the Crown Prince.
Now, it is the Senate that passed this motion, as you said, putting more pressure on Trump, who is keep defending the Saudis. Now, could Trump fight off this vote?
Well, it right now has no particular binding impact. This is a matter of the expression of views of the United States Senate. What the president would be more concerned about would be if the House joined with the Senate in passing a motion that invoked what we call the War Resolution Act, which would have some consequences in restraining what he can do with Saudi Arabia as to Yemen or other things. I do not believe that there are the votes in the House of Representatives to pass that, so that kind of action is not likely to happen. The president is I think, concerned about the murder, but I think that his focus tends to be, from his point of view, more on the strategic implications of maintaining the Saudi-American relationship.
Now, if the resolution also passes the House, now if that happens, it will land on Trump's desk and force him to make a choice, sign it and side with Congress, or veto it and side with the Saudis. In which position will this put him once again?
It'll be interesting to see. They just have different points of view. The president, I'm sure, is outraged by this murder, but he and Secretary of State Pompeo are focused on the value of a very long-term relationship that Saudi Arabia and the United States have. They're focused on containing expansionism by Iran. They're focused on economic interests. They're focused on stability in the Middle East. And I think whether one agrees or disagrees with the president, that is the perspective from which he views this. The Senate, on the other hand, views this as a matter of standing up for U.S. values. And the view of the Senate was that this murder was absolutely outrageous. In that sense, I think the U.S. Senate and your president, Mr. Erdogan, are very much on the same page in expressing outrage for what has happened. The difference has to do less with whether both of them agree that the murder was outrageous than the perspective from which they sit.
And how all this plays out among the American people? I mean, like having all these divisions between the Trump administration and the Senate when it comes to this killing?
I think it's pretty clear that the American people are outraged by the murder, don't approve of it, and don't approve of what Saudi Arabia has done. Because clearly somebody in Saudi Arabia was responsible for this murder. The Senate concluded that the evidence showed that the Crown Prince was implicated. And I think most American people would probably accept that judgment made by the Senate. After all, they looked into it and they had access to information that the public doesn't have.
Okay, James Farwell there live for us from New Orleans. Thanks so much for that analysis, sir.